Lumberjack Logic Live. I'm your host, Neil Johnson. Excited to be with you and excited to share the news with you. And folks, I'm especially excited about this news because the left seems to be falling all over itself again. They cannot win the narrative war because they constantly lie to us. And I'm going to show you just how bad this is becoming for them as they go on the Kilmar Abrego Garcia, that's right, Maryland man, Maryland dad, or whatever you want to call him, according to the left, when they go down these paths, which are unwinnable. And I will show you why. They are destroying everything they think they're fighting for. Katarina, good to see you on this morning. Please smash that like. Do chat in with where you're from. Michelle, good to see you. Folks, this is an amazing story because he had the opportunity to take a plea deal and go to Costa Rica, and now it appears he is going to Uganda, Africa. Now, Uganda has much improved since the days of Idi Amin. I actually have a good friend from Uganda. His name is Perry Nyende. This is really wild, and I'm going to show you how the Trump administration is winning the narrative war on this and how the left is losing. They're losing their minds over this. They're freaking out because we are taking a human smuggling, wife beating, trafficking, MS-13 gangbanger and removing him from America when he's not even here legally and can't complete a press conference in any bit of English. So anyways, like I said, good to see you all on. So let's get right into it. So I'm going to give you a few headlines first to understand how the left is attempting to frame this. Do need to mention my sponsor really quickly too. That's Birch Gold, folks. You can text Lumberjack to 989898 to get a free info kit on gold and silver, both. You can take existing IRA or 401k monies and turn them into physical, tangible gold and silver, the real stuff you can hold in your hand, have stored at a vault. So anyhow, go check that out. Gold is up substantially year over year, as is silver. Silver was approaching $40. I don't even know what it's at now. It's like 38 something. I think I bought into it 19. That's 100% increase in just a couple of years or a few years, whatever it was since I bought it. Funny, he's going to Uganda where they speak English. Michelle, that is such a great point. But let's get into it here. Let's go from the AP. I'm going to read to you only from left-wing outlets, mainstream media publications, okay? Kilmar Abrego Garcia is detained by ICE and facing possible deportation to Uganda, okay? Kilmar Abrego Garcia, whose arrest and fight to stay in the U.S. has become a flashpoint in President Donald Trump's immigration crackdown, surrendered Monday morning to U.S. immigration authorities in Baltimore. He faces possible efforts by the Trump administration to deport him to Uganda. The 30-year-old El Salvadorian national was wrongfully, now watch it, I want you to watch this as I read each article, was wrongfully deported in March to a notorious prison in his native El Salvador. He was returned to the U.S. in June, but only to face human smuggling charges that his lawyers call preposterous and vindictive. We're going to show you the receipts on that. The Trump administration has said it is trying to deport Abrego Garcia months before his trial is scheduled in Tennessee, alleging that the 30-year-old married father is a danger to the community and an MS-13 gang member. So, again, watch the framing from the AP, okay? First off, he was wrongfully deported, okay? He is a married father, okay? Watch how they do this. I want you to compare this just to, how they would target a Trump supporter. They would call him a white nationalist, neo-Nazi, something like that, right? They would not admit, oh yeah, this is a father. They keep going with the Maryland dad, Maryland man thing. Immigration officials say they plan to deport Abrego Garcia to Uganda after he declined an offer to be removed to Costa Rica in exchange for pleading guilty to smuggling charges. So he could have, again, remember, he could have taken the deal, gone to Costa Rica. Might be better than Uganda. Okay, so here we go now to which outlet am I on now? This is NPR, because they're not biased. We've heard from their CEO. Kilmar Abrego Garcia detained by ICE during Baltimore check-in. Okay, Gilmar Abrego Garcia, the Maryland man, there it is again, wrongfully deported to El Salvador in March and later returned to the U.S., was taken into federal custody Monday morning by immigration authorities. An attorney for Abrego Garcia confirmed the news to NPR. The detention, which was expected, happened minutes after Abrego Garcia walked into the ICE building in Baltimore for a check-in after being released from federal custody on Friday in Tennessee, pending a trial on separate criminal charges. Talking to supporters gathered outside the building, Abrego Garcia said seeing his family over the weekend filled him with hope and said those moments will give me strength to continue fighting. God is with us. God will never leave us. God will bring justice to all the injustice we are suffering. Here's the problem, okay? Do I delight in a child not having their father around? No. In fact, I know actually of a family member who impregnated a young lady. And I would say it's still better that the father's been in his life than not, because he doesn't feel then rejected by his dad. Okay, hopefully that makes sense to you all. But that being said, you cannot mock our immigration laws and mock our system of justice and say our laws don't matter and flaunt it. And here, let me go to one other, and I'll get you to one of the big points of this. But Abrego's criminal case was always a farce. The government's latest actions show why. This out of MSNBC by Jordan Rubin. When she announced the criminal charges against Garcia, Attorney General Pam Bondi said he has landed in the United States to face justice. This is what American justice looks like. Bondi is correct that Abrego's case is an example of American justice under the Trump administration, just not in the way she meant. Had someone tuned into Bondi's press conference without knowing the backstory, they might have gotten the misimpression that Abrego was a fugitive hiding out in a foreign country and that the government had finally captured him. But listen to this. He was only in his birth country of El Salvador because the U.S. had sent him there in March in violation of a court order that barred his removal to the country for fear of his persecution there. The government not only sent him to El Salvador, but to that country's notorious terrorism prison, though he hadn't been charged with any crime. By the administration's own admission, it made an error, but instead of quickly fixing it as ordered by the courts, it resisted until it finally relented in June in the face of a civil lawsuit that Abrego's lawyers filed for his return to Maryland, where he was living prior to his illegal removal. But the administration did return him in Maryland. It took him to Tennessee, where federal prosecutors had developed a criminal case against him while he was being held in El Salvador, where he said he was beaten and tortured. It's interesting because we saw pictures. Remember U.S. senators going down to visit him? He didn't look beaten and tortured, folks. He didn't. Now, the Trump Justice Department decision to bring the case reportedly led a high-ranking Tennessee prosecutor to resign over concerns that it was pursued for political reasons. Anybody want to guess what party the Tennessee prosecutor was a part of? Okay, but let's go back to this because this is something really important here. Now, El Salvador is his country of origin, right? He was sent back to El Salvador to a prison there in El Salvador. Smash that like if you would, please. This is great news. And drop a comment if you just jumped in. But the government sent him to El Salvador in violation of a court order that barred his removal to that country for his fear of persecution there. My lovely audience, I have covered this story. Why was he in fear of persecution in El Salvador? Help me out. Why was he in fear of persecution in El Salvador? I know you guys know this. Now, exactly. Thank you, Michelle. Rival gangs. But he's not a gang member, I thought. That's what the left keeps telling us. He's just a Maryland dad, a Maryland man. Okay? He was fearing reprisals from rival gangs. Hey, why is this always left out of the mainstream media's reporting? Why? Anybody want to take a guess at that? Fortunately, somebody intelligent is running our Homeland Security account on X. Okay? And this, I'm going to read to you from this. Today, Secretary Noem announced that ICE arrested Kilmar Abrego Garcia. He will be processed for removal to Uganda. Sanctuary politicians and fake news won't tell you the truth about Kilmar Abrego Garcia, a MS-13 gang member, human trafficker, wife beater, child predator, and criminal illegal alien. We will. Here's the receipts. Garcia previously admitted to being illegally present in the U.S. So taken from documents after arrest, the subject freely admitted being citizens and nationals of El Salvador by birth and that they were present in the United States illegally. They were not in possession of any immigration documents that would allow them to be in or remain in the United States legally. They freely, folks, again, here they are, they get arrested, and they freely admit to being citizens and nationals of El Salvador and not having documents to be here legally. Why would they be so free in admitting that they were here illegally? I mean, don't you think as a criminal, if you were committing a criminal act like that, that you would cover that up? Why? This is so important to this story. Why did they admit freely? Why? I want to see it in the comments. Again, this is all a big part of the story. In 2019, the Prince George's County Police Gang Unit validated Abrego Garcia as a member of MS-13. So that's in 2019. Thank you, Tom. The Biden policies. Because if they were illegal, guess what? That the FBI would just tell the cops, let them go. That's exactly what happened in that traffic stop, if you remember. Okay? So if you were an illegal, you were in a protected class. Okay? So there was not only was there no repercussions, Anne, not only was there no repercussions for being here illegally, you got favored status for being here illegally. You wouldn't even be sent to jail. So in 2019, the Prince George's County Police Gang Unit validated he was a member of MS-13. When he was arrested, he was found with rolls of cash and drugs and was with 2 other members of MS-13. In fact, I'm going to actually, if you guys don't follow me on X, you should. I'm going to just repost this quick, just so it's at the top of my feed. If you want to go over there, it's just at Neil, Neile Johnson, okay? Exactly. Hey, Jeff, it make it even better. That's right. Not only were they part of a protected class and couldn't get sent to jail, they were given money for being here illegally. This is so bad because all we needed to solve the immigration problem was not new laws from Congress because the laws were already there. All we needed was a fill in the blank. I love asking this question. You guys all know the answer. All right. So I have the documents here from Prince George. So this is all on the thing I just reposted on X. So you can go check that out if you want to see all the documents that go along with this. On December 1st, 2022, Garcia was stopped by the Tennessee Highway Patrol for speeding. Good morning, Terry. Upon approach to the vehicle, the encountering officer noted 8 other individuals in the vehicle. There was no, that's right. All we needed was a new precedent, folks. You guys knew it. There was no luggage in the vehicle, leading the encountering officer to suspect this was a human trafficking incident. Additionally, all the passengers gave the same home address as the subject's home address. During the interview, Garcia pretended to speak less English than he was capable of and attempted to put the encountering officer off track by responding to questions with questions. When asked what relationship he had with the registered owner of the vehicle, Abrego Garcia replied that the owner of the vehicle is his boss and that he worked in construction. Okay. So there's the whole issue. And remember, we saw the body cam footage and they were communicating with the FBI, the Biden Department of Justice, and they were told just to let him go. Just to let him go. Jennifer Vasquez, Garcia's wife, petitioned for an order of protection against him. She claimed he punched her, scratched her, and ripped off her shirt and bruised her. So this was all, and then she was the one that went around crying on TV. So which was it, Jennifer? Which was it? Okay. Adding to court filings, or according to court filings, Kilmer Abrego Garcia also solicited nude photographs of a minor. So you have a child predator, a guy who's punching his spouse. You have an MS-13 gang member, suspected child or suspected human trafficker. He can't even go back to his own country of origin because of fear of reprisals from rival gangs. And yet the media, as I read to you from all these stories, tells us he's a Maryland dad, a Maryland man. Now, somebody made a great point here, and I want to address something I said earlier because it's probably triggered some of you. Saying that I think it would be better if the child knew their dad. And people are like, oh gosh, well, he'd be a bad example, better off without him. I understand all that, but there is still something about being rejected by your father and being abandoned by your father. Now, the hope would be for the kids, okay, and this is very clear, for the kids that this guy would repent, turn his life around, and become a good dad. Is that not the ideal situation? Yes or no? Come on, just put all the politics of this aside and everything else. My hope is that this guy would get his mind right. I'm really serious about this. There is no hope for those children if he doesn't. This is what I want. Now, that does not mean he can flaunt our immigration laws. It does not mean he shouldn't be sent out of country. It doesn't mean he shouldn't go to jail. It doesn't mean any of that. That's not my point. Okay? But, like Lone Wolf said, the families can be deported together. So they could all just go to Uganda together. Okay? So this is the issue. I would hope that the guy would repent and turn his life around. That's always the hope. Okay? But our laws are our laws, and the liberals are choosing the wrong hill to die on. And now this story is back in the news. Okay? So Kelly made a point, and I get this, puts his kids in danger of being molested by him because he solicited these nude photos of a minor. I do not know the whole story there on that. I just know that this is what he did. Well, we can go into it here. But Kilmer Abrego Garcia enters U.S. court in chains to face charges of trafficking thousands of illegal immigrants, including MS-13 gangbangers. Let's go. He's a smuggler of humans, children, and women. Now, if he's, wow, maybe this guy wouldn't be. No, seriously, I mean, people can repent of anything. And if you don't think that, you don't understand the message of the gospel. And I really mean that. I think one of those mass murderers, who was it? Was it Ed Gein? Who was the guy who repented and came to Christ at the end and turned his whole life around and was doing ministry in prison? Do you guys remember? Help me out here. When you understand the message of the cross, we all sent Christ to the cross. So at our heart, we all committed that murder. And this is an unpopular message because people don't want to believe that Jesus is the only way. But it is. That's the truth. There is no other way. We've all sinned and fallen short of the glory of God, and we tend to rank sin down here. Certainly, sin has different effects, right? Maybe it was Dahmer. That might have been it. Gosh, I think James Dobson of Focus on the Family did an interview with him. Whoever I'm thinking of, I think it was something like that. But anyways, I just we rank sin here, but it's like that statement that bitterness is just murder in diapers. It wasn't Charles Colson. No, it was like somebody who was a mass murderer. I mean, Colson turned his life around too, but that was all Watergate stuff. Was it David Koresh? I don't know. I'd have to look this up, but it's just there is only one way. There is only one way. And you think about the guy who wrote Amazing Grace, that was Newton, right? Yeah, John Newton. And he was a slave trader. He was a slave trader. That's basically what human smuggling is. Turned his whole life around, wrote the greatest hymn of all time because he got it. Because he got it. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? I don't want to believe, because with Pharaoh hardened his heart, Pharaoh hardened his heart, Pharaoh hardened his heart, God hardened Pharaoh's heart. It was Ted Bundy. Thank you. That's it. Anyways, so we can get to a point where we harden our heart, and then God is the one who determines when it's over. Not you, not me, not anyone. We have no right to condemn anyone. Okay? All right. That's a little, that's not as newsy, but I just want to share that with you. Please go check out my other sponsor too. That's MyPillow, mypillow.com. Percale sheets, $29.88. Any color, any size, and free shipping on orders over $75 right now at MyPillow. Get them early. Get them before Christmas. Get your Christmas gifts now. He's also got an employee pricing sale on the premium My Pillows. I want to thank you so much for listening. I did wax on a little bit here at the end about the message of the cross, but it's very important because we can tend to alienate people from the chance at mercy and the chance at grace. And that's a big mistake, because if you're doing that, you don't understand fully what you've been forgiven of. Okay? You don't. And if you don't understand that, you can't love freely, you can't forgive freely. Okay? It's a real thing. This is it. I mean, you have to understand that you're forgiven, you're cleansed, you're washed, you're free when you accept Christ, and then move on in that and love people. All right? Anyways, keep fighting the good fight. I love y'all. Peace out.